welcome to the video. We're in the park on a beautiful summer's Sunday and life doesn't get better than this. July stock photography and videography. July was a big month for me. I went to Scotland for 2 weeks just on a family holiday, and we visited Edinburgh. We went to the Highlands, the lakes, the lochs around Aviemore, and then we cruised over to the west coast of Scotland to a place called Mallaig. From there we hoped to jump on some ferries to island hop to places like Mull and Skye, but bad planning on my behalf meant that the ferries were booked out by the time we got there. But it didn't really matter. I enjoyed photographing landmarks around Edinburgh. I even came across the World Championship orienteering races and managed to sneak in onto the course and capture some photos of the finalists of the World Championship starting off their orienteering runs. From Edinburgh we went to Aviemore, and I even managed to photograph some ospreys on the nest, but the light conditions and the distance to the birds were not optimal, so I didn't really use any of those photos, but I was happy just to have the chance to see an osprey in the wild in Scotland. Incidentally, I was driving out of The Hague last week, and I saw an osprey gliding over the highway being harassed by a bunch of crows. So ospreys are getting out and about in Europe more, and they're certainly recolonising the Netherlands now. They have nests in a place called the Biesbos, which is about 50 kilometres south of The Hague, so I'm sure they go up and down the coast looking for food. So we've got some nice video and photos around the lochs of the Highlands in that area, and then in the coast region I managed to get some wildlife videos of the increasingly endangered sand eels that swim in the North Sea and Atlantic. And sand eels are becoming less frequent in nature because the water temperature is rising, so they're moving further north. But luckily in this place in Scotland, the water is so cold that the sand eels are right in the estuary, and I was just standing on a beach and there were schools of sand eels swimming past. So I think those will be in the news for conservation reasons, and I like my Atlantic salmon photos and videos. I think those sand eel photos will be good sellers. I also managed to video and photograph brown shrimp, which were in their thousands in this shallow estuary near Mallaig. So I'm hoping some of those assets sell as well in the future. What else did we do? We went out to the islands around Mallaig on just a wildlife tour on a little fishing boat, and I managed to photograph the common harbour seals that are hanging around these rocky outcrops in the Atlantic. And when we came back, I also managed to video and photograph a grey seal that hangs around the harbour and waits for fishermen to throw it fish. So when we got back, I spent every free moment I could uploading the photos that I think would be good sellers, and also the videos. And I've already managed to sell 2 photos of some things in Edinburgh, but I'll talk about that as we get into the stock photography and stock videography earnings for July. If anything in this video is helpful or interesting to you, please give it a like, and that will help my channel immensely. Okay, we'll get into the first of the agencies now, and that is Getty Istock. And I had a surprise sale this month, which is a very pleasant surprise, because Getty has been going through the floor over the last 6 months for me. It was a video sale of the usual gannet trapped in plastic, which many of you will be aware of, and that sold for $44 commission to me. I had a look on the website, and apparently the customer paid around $200. I'm not sure if I meant to say that, but gives you an idea of the commission rate that I get from that agency. The rest of the sales that I got were very disappointing, actually. I think it only totaled to around $6. So if I hadn't had that surprise video sale, I would have been in the hole with Istock Getty. One pic that I sold was of $1.42. It was a commercial pic of a giant house spider, which was crawling out of my car a few years ago. And luckily I had my camera with me. I think one of my kids was screaming at the time, but I put that to the back of my mind in time to get 1 or 2 photos of this creature that crawled out of our car. Another wildlife photo was of a tiger snake in Tasmania, and that was a commercial photo that earned me 56 cents. So in total, what did I earn? Just a bit over, $50.93 for Istock Getty. And now to Adobe Stock, which was pretty frustrating, I have to admit, this month for me. Firstly, it wasn't a very successful month with sales, and secondly, the frustration was the uploading process. Editorial photos are very difficult to get accepted on Adobe. So I have all of these editorial photos which sell quite well across the other agencies, and they don't even get let in the gate with Adobe Stock, which is pretty annoying. Thirdly is the videos. They only accept commercial videos, and I just find the process for uploading videos to the agency totally frustrating. You have to go via an FTP site. I use FileZilla, and I had 3 unsuccessful attempts with uploading my sand eel and brown shrimp videos, and this is of high imperativeness to me. You know, I'm disappointed that Adobe don't understand that it's a very important thing. Anyway, seriously, wasting, half an hour of my life for no result when the process only takes a matter of a few minutes with other agencies is pretty frustrating. I did not sell any videos with Adobe this month, or in July I should say, and nothing sold for over $1. In total, I made $19.96 with Adobe Stock. And with Adobe Stock, my portfolio is 1,275 images, and I have 78 videos. And now on to Shutterstock, where I had a kind of okay month in comparison to the previous months. And I also noticed that the uploading process with Shutterstock, before they upgraded their website with improvements, is also really clunky. I found a couple of times I couldn't upload a photo in the editing process. It just kept getting knocked back for not any good reason. So I'd have to start the entire process again. So yeah, the new, well, I think it's over a year old now, the new editing and uploading process is not that fantastic, to be honest, compared to the old version for contributors, I think. For Shutterstock, I have 2,700 images, or 2,700 photos, and I have 243 videos. I sold 4 videos this month on Shutterstock, and to be honest, they made the majority of the bottom line for that agency. I think it was, yeah, $30 worth of video sales, and maybe $12 or $13 for photo sales. So that tells you that video, when it goes right, is going to make me more money. Everyone's portfolio is different, of course. I had 43 downloads, and one highlight is that I already sold one of the photos that I took in Edinburgh of a low emission zone for a very small price. I think it was 10 cents. But the good news is that new assets are selling, so that gives me hope, because I often hear from other microstockers that they only sell, the majority of their assets are like several years old, which can kind of crush your hope and demotivate you for uploading new content. But my experience is that new assets are being downloaded by customers, and they are still selling, so that's good enough reason for me to keep going. Some other highlights are I sold an editorial picture of tulip pickers that I took a few years ago during the springtime in the Netherlands, and that sold for $2. My 2 best video sales were both commercial videos, and the first one was of Atlantic salmon swimming in shallow water, and that sold for $10.80. And the gannet trapped in plastic also sold. That was my best seller for the month, and that sold for $19.80, also as a commercial image. In total for Shutterstock, I made $42.71. Okay, now on to Alamy, which gives me often the most pleasure with stock photography and also the most disappointment. But I have to say, on the whole, Alamy is probably my favourite agency because the kinds of photos that I sell there suit my personal style the best. I have experience in the area of photojournalism, so really interesting editorial photos give me a lot of pleasure in making. And when I see one of those photos sell on Alamy, that gives me a really good feeling. So on Alamy I have 2,300 images, or 2,300 images, no videos obviously, and in July I had 6 sales. The first one was of a commercial image of the Atlantic salmon swimming in shallow water that I took back in Tasmania a couple of years ago, and that sold for $1.60 gross. The second was an editorial photo that I took in The Hague, where the old-timer classic American cars, that's a club, gets together and they show their cars on public ground in The Hague. So I go around and take editorial photos of those. I think they do it every couple of months in the summer and autumn and spring. And I was delighted to see that one of those photos sold. I photographed that outdoor exhibition 2 years ago, I think, and I think this is only one of 2 or 3 that I've sold of those photos, so I'm glad it's finally picking up. Photo sold for $3.10 gross. Okay, the next ones are images that I sold for $8.34 gross each, and there were 2 of them. The first one was an editorial photo of the marked hole, which is an innovative piece of architecture that combines a giant food hall and market with residential apartments that are placed around the outside of the building, and there's a huge glass front and back to the building. And if you're ever in Rotterdam, I really suggest going to visit it. It's a really fun place to be in, and you can have a nice lunch as well there. It's not a luxurious priced place to visit, so you can just have a normal lunch there and just wonder at this fantastic modern architecture that the Dutch have come up with. The other photo that I sold was a big fat cow. It was an editorial photo, and that was a photo, I think, of a Belgian blue cow or bull, and they're bred so that they're double muscled, so they deliver a lot more meat content. However, I think the breeding is controversial because of the effects on the body of the cattle that have this kind of muscle mass, and whether it's actually good for them. So that's also an interesting kind of photojournalistic concept. Okay, my last photo that I sold, and the one that I sold for the highest price, was of a tractor parked in front of the skyline of the city of The Hague during a farmers' protest a few years ago, and with the placard on the front of the tractor. And that's an editorial photo that I sold for $14.47 gross. In total for Alamy, I made $16.50 net. Now, if this video was interesting or helpful, please give it a like, and I'll proceed with giving you the total amount that I earned for July in 2024 for Microstock, and that was $134, which I'm happy about. I uploaded photos that I thought were fun this month, and videos as well that really gave me enjoyment creating, editing and keywording. So the whole process just seemed effortless for me. So also earning $134 with my small portfolios doesn't seem too bad at all, considering the climate with the oversaturation of the market and the influence of AI. I still think there is some profit we can squeeze out of this market, so I'm not jumping out of it just yet. What about you guys? I was happy to run into one of my subscribers on the remote west coast of Scotland, and had a really good conversation with him, and he also gave me hope that, you know, there is potential still, even though it is challenging and very easy to give up. I hope this video gave you a bit of motivation to keep going if you think it's worth it to you. Alright, see you in the next one, and all the best for August.